This video is talking about how to write a function rule. So now we have some sort of scenario. How do we write a function rule, which basically is an equation, but in function notation. Let's look at some examples. All right, first example, which rule represents the function in the table? And so here's our table we're going to look at. Basically, we're looking for patterns. So what kind of pattern do we see as we look at the connection between the x and the y? So we look, if they put in 2, right, x is our input. They put in 2 and got out 6. They put in -1 and got out -3. And they put in 0 and got 0. So what is something that we could see actually happens and works in all of those scenarios? And so we go, okay, how do I get from 2 to 6? So 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, does that apply to the -1 and the 3? -1 plus 4 is not -3, so that doesn't work. And plus 0 plus 3 is not, 0 plus 4 is not 3. I mean, 0 plus 0 is not 0. Oh my goodness. 2 plus 4, so 0 plus 4 is not 0. There we go. Trying to talk too fast. All right, but let's see, how else can I get from 2 to 6? I can multiply, so 2 times 3 is 6. Well, let's see if it applies. So -1 times 3 gives me -3. We're good so far. 0 times 3 is 0, right? Anything times 0 is 0. So that's it. So what does my function rule look like? F of n equals 3 times n. Now you could have used x. That's totally fine too. But it's 3 times the number, whatever it may be. So when we plug in 2, we get 6. When we plug in -1, we get -3. When we plug in 0, we get 0. All right, next example. Which equation can represent? So here's what it wants to represent. The total cost of popcorn at the movie sells for $2.50 each. If P packages of popcorn are purchased. So they gave us P, and we're talking about cost. So we're going to say C of P, and then it sells the cost of popcorn at the movie that sells for $2.50 each. So each popcorn sells for $2.50. We sold P of them, so we're going to multiply. So it'd be 250P. Okay. Next example. Which function represents a cell phone bill If there is a monthly charge of $20 plus 6 cents for each minute of use. So we want to write a function rule. So we're going to have something like f of x equals, so that's our function notation. So let's think about this for a second. So it has a monthly charge of $20. So they're going to pay $20 regardless. But then it says 6 cents for each minute of use. For each minute of use. We don't know how many minutes they're using. So that's going to be our X. But 6 cents, how do I write that in dollars and cents, right? Not just 6 cents. So remember that's 0.06. So in this case, 0.06 X, because X is however many minutes they used, we don't know. Plus, they're going to pay for the $20 flat fee. So anytime we see something where it says for each something, we know that that's going to be multiplied because we're going to see how much total that's going to be. All right, last example. Which function matches the graph? Here's our graph. Then okay, so here's our graph. We want to write the function of this graph. So we know we're going to have f of x equals, because that's function notation. And this is a line. So remember, lines can be written in the form of y equals mx plus b. So b is the y-intercept. So if we look there, our intercept is at 2. And then we need the slope. Remember, slope is rise over run. So if we count this from one point to another, it goes down 1. So minus 1, but then it goes over 1. So we have negative 1 over 1. So our slope is negative 1. So we're going to have negative 1x or negative x, and then our y-intercept is at 2. So plus 2. So we've done this before where we found the equation of a line. This is exactly the same process. It's just that instead of us saying y equals, we put f of x equals to show that it's a function. That's it for this video. If you have any questions as you go through the lesson, make sure to ask your teacher. Have a great day.